Um, Hi, folks. Welcome to the 34th presentation of the travel presentations that I've been doing since last August. It's hosted by AlmonTravel, CARP, and tonight Intrepid Travels. It's held every Tuesday at 6:30 Atlantic time into late June. And then we're scheduled. We're scheduled then for a break to enjoy our Nova Scotia summer until the 1st of October. Certainly check the CARP travel website for details on presentations that will resume at that time. And as Kaz mentioned, that we will be recording this and within the next couple of days putting this presentation on the CARP travel website. So as I do at the beginning of each presentation, I talk a little bit about ourselves, AlmonTravel. We've been in business for 18 years now. As of the beginning of May, we've focused in that time on a specialty of destination weddings, having done 130 destinations weddings across Canada down into the Caribbean area. And where that translates into, for our purposes for this presentation, is that we are very comfortable booking groups and would be happy to, and will be planning to organize a number of groups for coach tours, ocean cruises, river cruises, and so on. Also, our experience with destination weddings and groups in that area, if you have a special anniversary coming up and you want extended family and friends to join you on a particular trip, then we'd be happy to help you with that as well. So Caribbean vacations, also as a result of our experience with destination weddings, we have visited most of the very popular areas in the Caribbean and make it a point of visiting resorts, many resorts when we are there on our vacations, so to speak, and find out what the resorts are like so that we can recommend them from experience to our clients. Florida trips, again, extended families to the theme parks. Large properties need organization, and we have experience with virtually all of the large theme parks in Florida: Universal, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, and of course Disney. River cruises, we have done 10 different itineraries around the world, including Asia, Vietnam, we've done 2 on the Red River and the Mekong. China, we've done the Yangtze. In Egypt, we've done the Nile. In the United States, we've done the Mississippi on a sternwheeler, which was a neat experience. We've also done several European river cruises. So again, lots of experience there to be able to help you with booking. Coach tours, from local bubble tours like going to Newfoundland and Labrador to coach tours around the world. We work with a variety of touring companies to find the best options for you. So travel conditions. We are moving closer and closer here in Nova Scotia. Kaz and I were talking about the situation as it is in Ontario now, and she's very pleased to make note that they are opening up within the next 3 or 4 days, and she'll probably talk a little bit about that when she does her presentation. But here in Nova Scotia, our vaccinations are happening with regularity, and in fact, good possibility that we will be ahead of schedule with our second vaccinations, perhaps 2 to 4 weeks earlier than we expected. And my opinion, humble though it may be, is that vaccinations are what are going to open up the world back to travel for us. So there's going to be things. We were discussing about the fact that double vaccination and a negative test for COVID is what's being required in, I believe, Newfoundland very soon. So the test for negativity for the virus is going to be important, and that'll probably be for a while as well. So we're focusing some of our efforts on solo travel and women-only travel, and we actually had 2 presentations this month, one just last week and one at the end of the month, that will focus on women travel. So certainly pass the word along on that if you know of people that are interested in that. We're connected with CARP because I have worked with Bill Van Gorder, who is a Chief Executive Officer of CARP Nova Scotia. I've worked with him on a charitable institution for several years. 100 Men Who Give a Damn raised $400,000 for local charitable institutions in Halifax, all of which went to the institutions, none of which was overhead because it was totally volunteer. Very proud of that, and booked Bill Van Gorder's a couple of trips for him, a river cruise and a Rocky Mountaineer train trip. And as a result of the service that he received, he asked if we would become CARP's official travel agency. And we said, of course, yes. So anyway, so that's the background for AlmonTravel and our relationship with CARP. I'd like to introduce Kaz Brown, Intrepid's industry sales manager for the Americas, who, in addition to telling us a bit about her company, Intrepid, will also take us on an exotic adventure to Morocco with Casablanca, the Sahara Desert, and Marrakesh, as well as other mysterious places in the Middle East. This has been a bucket list item for me, and I mean, it's just absolutely so exotic. I think I was first turned on to the area by the movie Casablanca, which is not the reality anyway, but certainly, you know, the looks of the movie reflect the actual position. So Kaz, I'll turn it over to you. Please take it away.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that introduction. And as you mentioned, I'm very excited. I'm based in Toronto, and we are finally, after 7 months of lockdown, opening this Friday. So I just want to go out and go camping, and I'll finally be able to do that. So excited for that. But without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to give you a little overview of who we are and what we do. What's trending right now, Morocco, I'll tell you that. And we'll go through one of our itineraries in depth, introduce you to a couple other options you can do in Morocco, and end it on a high note. So at Intrepid Travel, we are actually the world's largest adventure travel company. We visit all 7 continents, over 120 countries, over 1,000 different itineraries to choose from. So there's lots of options. And you might think, oh, adventure. Well, I'm not sure if I'm an adventurer. I'm not an adventurous type. Well, I'm going to break down some of those barriers and some of those stereotypes as we go through today. But at Intrepid, truly what we do is sustainable, experience-rich travel. We're all about the real-life experiences, and our trips are more than just tours. So yes, they are guided group experiences. You'll be traveling with a small group, but it's more than that. We're offering real insights into local life. Our trips offer an authentic, immersive experience to get you off the beaten track, as overused as that term can be, for those really experiential moments. Those moments when you know you're really experiencing something that's truly different, something that's really unique and really different, and that feeling of amazement even from the smallest thing. So I'll ask you a question. If you're not sure if you're an adventure traveler, when you go to a new destination, do you like to taste, touch, smell, try something new, do something new, or get culturally immersed? If you've answered yes to one of them or even a couple of them, you're definitely an adventure traveler. Travel, to me, I believe it's for everyone, and adventure travel is also for everyone. So we have a lot to choose from. When you go on an Intrepid travel trip, the way that we achieve this real life experience and the really immersive, unique experience is by doing it in a small group. Small groups mean you have great flexibility. So there'll usually be about 10 people in your group. So really small, really intimate. 12 or 16 is our maximum. You'll have an amazing local leader, and then you'll have a group of travelers from around the world. So we have travelers from Canada and US, the UK, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and the list goes on. But what we really do is we bring together very like-minded people, people who are up to experiencing new cultures, trying new foods, like to go with the flow. They like to travel in a group to share those experiences. Maybe they like the safety of a group. Perhaps it's that they like having all the guesswork taken out of planning, because they know when they sign up for the tour what they're getting, but they also know that they have lots of freedom to choose and a lot of free time as well, which is something we often forget when we think about tours. So small groups, it's a lot about the flexibility. We can go where big groups can't. So if you can imagine getting lost in back alleys, eating in small locally run restaurants, staying in boutique accommodations, having the opportunity to take on spontaneous opportunities when they come up. So let's say you're traveling through Vietnam and there's a festival in the street. Instead of having to drive on to your next destination, stopping and partaking Perhaps you're in Morocco and a local family invites you in to have tea and being able to do that. Or perhaps it's just sweltering, sweltering hot and you're in Egypt and you had planned to go to Karnak Temple at 10 a.m., but your leader says, tomorrow morning we can get up at sunrise, leave earlier, head to Karnak Temple before the groups get there and before it gets too hot, and then come back to the pool in the afternoon. I like that idea, in my opinion. Now, it's about getting connected by travel. So travel for us, it's not just about the new places, it's about the friendships you forge along the way. It's about being curious, being open, learning in destination, and coming home with a few new friends from around the world. When we talk about this authentic, unique, different experience, I want to stress that it's not challenging. There's no extra work put on yourself. We make it really easy. We'll focus on all of the logistics and the planning and creating these really unique opportunities and destination to meet local people and get out of your comfort zone. And you just sit back and relax and enjoy the ride. You'll have an experienced local leader who knows the destination, like all the great places to eat. We'll include on our tour, which you'll see, transport, and we usually try to use small, locally run accommodations, homestays, guest houses, geets. For our accommodation, it really differs depending on where you are in the world. It could be a myriad of things: hotels, geets, riads, Sahara Desert camps, which you'll see today, jungle lodges, feluccas, apartments, Nile cruise ships, yurts, anything you can imagine. It just depends on where you are in the world. But the best part about it is you're getting an authentic experience while also contributing to the local economy as well. Now, I mentioned this local leader. These people are the key to the Intrepid experience. They are your local leader. They are your tour guide. They are your language barrier, assistance and guide. They are your guru. They are the person that's going to be at the market haggling with you and helping you barter for a lower price on that leather product that you wanted in the Medina and Fez. But they're also your best friend. They are the curator of your experience. They are there to help you. They are there to guide you, but they're equally as curious to learn about you as you are to learn about them and their country. They're incredible, and they help you discover the hidden highlights and have a ton of amazing ideas and destinations. So if you're really keen to learn about a specific aspect of a country's culture, heritage, maybe it's birding, wildlife, it's a family trip and your little ones have something specific they want to learn more about, just ask. And with a small group, you can do that. So we've been around for 32 years now, and we started out with our two co-founders, Jeff Manchester and Daryl Wade. They're pictured in this picture here, the pink polo and the striped shirt in the middle. They converted a garbage truck into an overland vehicle, shipped it from Australia to the UK, and then drove it down through Western Europe and into Africa. At the time, there wasn't a travel company offering this type of experience because really it's quite ludicrous. But they could stop in small villages, they could go at a slower pace, they weren't traveling in a large tour group, they could impact the communities in a positive way, and they could have that really local living experience. They came back to Australia and started their first, or ran their first tour when they started Intrepid Travel in Thailand in 1989. And it's come a long way from there. I'll reassure you, we do not use garbage trucks anymore, but that'd be a fun adventure, I think, in the future. Now, why do we do everything that we do? Since the beginning of Intrepid Travel 32 years ago, it's always been for a greater purpose or a purpose beyond profit. So when you're looking at any Intrepid Travel trip, or you get to experience one, you'll notice something. It really is a fantastic experience. You can feel the positive impact on the community you're visiting. You can see the passion from your local leader on creating a sustainable travel experience. It's one of the most sustainable ways to travel. And if you're interested in learning more, we can definitely talk in detail at another time. But a few things to note, we hire and train local people in destinations. So all of our local leaders are local, so 100% of them. We stay in small boutique, locally run accommodations where possible, or accommodations that have renewable energy resources and other things like that. 100% of our trips are carbon offset. So every train, plane, automobile that you take in destination is taken care of for you on your behalf. We contribute to our Intrepid Foundation NGOs, charities, and community projects, and the list goes on and on. One thing that we're really proud about is that we're B Corp certified, which is the highest standard and accreditation a business can get when it comes to looking after people and planet. It rips apart your business from the ground up, and it doesn't just point out what you're doing that's good, it points out where you can be doing better. And we have to recertify this every 3 years. And it's not just for the travel industry, it's for all industries. So there are companies like Patagonia Clothing, Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream, Danone Yogurt that are all on this list as well. So to sum it up with responsible travel, because you'll see this throughout that presentation as well, is that for yourself, it's something to feel really good about. You'll leave footprints behind, and that's really it. We're committed to traveling in a way that's respectful to local people, their culture, local economies, and the environment. And we strive to use travel as a force for good. That's why we choose to give back to the communities we visit, carbon offset all of our trips, and take our social and environmental responsibilities really seriously. Now, I mentioned adventure is for everyone. So today, if you don't see something that you like, of course, AlmonTravel can help you out with any of your needs, but we do offer a wide variety of travel styles, from foodie trips, sailing and small ship cruising experiences, family trips, indigenous culture trips, polar expeditions to Antarctica and the Arctic, festivals, wildlife experiences, cycling, walking, and trekking, and the list goes on. So there really is a lot to experience, and Morocco is great because you can go to Morocco and do a couple different themes. So if you're really interested in food and the culinary side of travel, then you can do a food trip or cycling, or if not, do a general sightseeing. Now, if you're wondering, what am I going to be sleeping in? What is my accommodation going to look like? We have 4 different travel themes or styles. These styles are based on you. So how do you like to travel? What type of accommodation do you like to stay in? What's your budget, etc. On a basics level trip, it's in the name, it's basics. It's good if you're on a little bit of a tighter budget, or if you're in Africa and you're looking for an overland safari experience and camping. But it's more of a framework. You have your guide, transport, and accommodation, but a lot of free time and simple accommodation, always clean, comfortable, centrally located, but just simple. Originals right in between, it's a great mix. So if you're looking to see what Intrepid's reputation was really built on, this is where you'll land. Great mix of freedom and flexibility and that group time and inclusions. The accommodation is a step up a notch, and the transportation can become a little more comfortable as well. At the comfort level, we're taking creature comforts from home. So we've smoothed away those rough edges of adventure. You're gonna have more activities included, more meals, transfers on arrival, and that accommodation is gonna be stepped up a notch. So you can see as you go up the scale, that comfort increases as well. Our 4th style we have is Intrepid Premium. This is for someone who is looking for an adventurous experience, grassroots level style of adventure, really honing in on that cultural experience, but would like an elevated service offering. So elevated level of service, premium accommodation, and a really comfortable stay. So these trips offer experiences that are only available on the premium level trips. The accommodations are spectacular. They speak to the architecture of the destination. They offer a really unique cultural or experience that speaks to the destination. For example, a madrasa in Uzbekistan. So you can stay in an Islamic school of instruction where the students used to stay. You can stay in a cave hotel in Cappadocia, looking over Pigeon Valley, where the hot air balloons sail in the morning at sunrise. You can stay in a jungle lodge on a river in Malaysia, and then go off and forage with local guides, native delicacies to do a home cooking class. It's just incredible. So we'll get into that as well today. Now, because we didn't want to just hone in on Morocco and not let you know where else we go again, all 7 continents. These are our top destinations for our global travelers. So these are travelers who are coming from all over the world. Traditionally, and this will probably change after we return to travel, Vietnam, India, Morocco, Peru, Jordan, Japan, Costa Rica, Cuba, Australia, and South Africa. And what's interesting is prior to the pandemic, our top 10 fastest growing destinations were really out there. We had Uzbekistan, Zimbabwe, Georgia, Turkey, Iran, and the list goes on. But to take a little closer look at our Canadian Intrepid customer, top destination without fail for the last 4 years running strong has been Morocco. Morocco, Morocco, Morocco. It's such a beautiful destination. There is so much to offer. Looking at other top destinations, Jordan, Egypt, Peru, Vietnam. Post-COVID, our #1 destination has actually become Antarctica. So we do Antarctic voyages to the 7th continent, has become our top selling. Iceland after that, but Morocco has held strong in the top. Now, if you're still not sold on whether or not you are an intrepid traveler or an adventure traveler, take a look at some of the demographics. And I will say that demographics mean nothing because we bring in very like-minded travelers. 48 might be the average age of the traveler. We've actually seen lately is that average age of traveler has actually increased because a lot of people who are already vaccinated are booking and rebooking. However, our youngest traveler in 2019 was 4.5, and our eldest was in their 90s. So you never know what people are interested in. The 4.5-year-old, of course, was on a family trip, and our 90-year-old, it was a couple in their 90s, were on a premium level trip as well. 65% of our travelers are female, and over 49%, almost 50% of our travelers are solo. So if you're a solo traveler, there's no mandatory single supplement. We welcome those solo travelers as well. And if that, just switch to the next slide, there we go. And if that video did not play for you because we're on Zoom and it doesn't always cooperate, I will pop that in the chat as well so you can watch that in your own time. But we're heading into Morocco now. Myself, I know Danny, it is on the top of his bucket list. It is one of the destinations that I had to travel to understand why it was so popular. So I actually did a Morocco trip with Intrepid Travel, first when I started with them almost 5 years ago now. I did our South Morocco Discovery, which covers the southern part of Morocco. It's a shorter trip that I did that covered Sahara Desert because that was one of the top highlights that I wanted to see. But we're diving into Morocco Uncovered. This is one of our most popular trips. It's at the comfort level. It's a 13-day trip starting in Casablanca, ending in Marrakesh. You'll see with all of our trips, there'll be a varying amount of meals and activities included, just so you get an idea of how this works. Again, you'll have your local leader, you'll have an itinerary that's planned, you'll have some meals, some activities, all of your transport, and all of your accommodations included. So in this trip, we'll have 12 breakfasts and 5 dinners included. We never include all meals because we want you to have the freedom to choose and go off and explore on your own. So you don't have to feel like you have to come back and eat with the group in the evening. We're traveling by private minibus. So of course it is a group tour, but you'll be traveling in a smaller bus rather than a larger coach bus because the group size on this trip is 12. So very small, very intimate. For our accommodation, I'll show you some examples throughout today, but we're staying in a desert camp for 1 night, which is absolutely one of the highlights of this experience. We're staying in a gîte for 2 nights, a riad for 3 nights, and a hotel for 6 nights. We're starting in Casablanca. We make our way to Rabat, Vulibis, Chefchaouen, Fez, Meknes, Medelt, Sahara Camp, so in the Sahara Desert. We hit the Magoon Valley, Ait Ben Haddou, and then end in Marrakesh at the end. Morocco as a destination, there is just so much to uncover. Ha, Morocco uncovered, see what I did there? Not on purpose. It's close enough to Canada. It's a great addition if you're doing a cruise in the area, or perhaps you want to travel on through Europe, especially Spain. It is a totally different culture and experience and food than we're used to in Canada. So you're really getting that exotic feel, but it is very safe. It's very welcoming. Depending if you're traveling in the north and the south, the terrain can be very different. The architecture can be very different. The food can be even very different. So if you're doing a full tour that's 13 days or even longer, and you're going to do a very traditional route, but doing untraditional things, you get to see so much about the destination. This trip here in particular, and why you'll love it, you get to visit the Grand Mosque of Hassan II in Casablanca. It's one of the most impressive temples in Morocco before exploring the sites of the country's first imperial city of Meknes. So we'll get into that as well. So in Casablanca, it's really just a stepping stone to get you into Morocco. Spending a night here, get your feet wet, some optional activities to do in destination, have your first meal in Casablanca, try some traditional tagine or couscous. But once we head out from Casablanca, after exploring the mosque, which is the only temple that you can visit as a non-practicing Muslim in Morocco. So it's fantastic if you can get inside, very grand. We visit Rabat and visit the Kasbah Le Oudaya, and you can correct me on my pronunciation if you would like, but once you go there, they'll teach you how to say it properly. We visit Meknes. In Meknes, this was the country's first imperial city, so the first city in Morocco. And we visit the archaeological sites and do a Medina walking tour. You'll have your local leader with you throughout your entire trip from point A to point C. And because it's a small group, you'll be able to have that undivided attention from your local leader. But in many destinations in Morocco, we'll also have additional tour leaders. For instance, in Meknes, where we'll bring on a person who grew up in the area and can tell you more about that region in particular. Now, food in Morocco, you'll have to do some exploration. We offer some cooking classes you can do online as well to prepare yourself for Morocco, or you can do some cooking classes in Morocco. But tagine is one of the dishes you'll probably have a lot of. I myself have probably had a tagine every day on my Morocco trip. It's essentially like a roasted meat and vegetable dish. You can also get it vegetarian, but in this tagine, which is the traditional cookery dish, which you can see there made out of clay, they'll put in meat and chicken, herbs, oils, and cook it in the tagine in the oven. And when it comes out, it's almost like having a Sunday roast dinner, but just all the aromatics and the spices. It's just delicious. And you can have chicken tagine and beef tagine and goat tagine, vegetarian tagine, fish tagine, endless tagines to try. After we visit Meknes, we'll head to Chefchaouen. In Chefchaouen, we're visiting the blue walled city. So said to be one of the most beautiful areas in Morocco, especially most photographed. You'll get to walk through the blue streets, learn why it is blue, maybe do a little bit of shopping, take some great photos, and of course, led by your local leader. After Chefchaouen, we'll visit Voulibilis. We'll visit the archaeological site in this area and see from the Europeans, what was kind of left behind, and the influence is the word that I was looking for, the influence from the Europeans in northern Morocco as well. It's really interesting if you do a longer tour and visit Tangier, the northern part of Morocco feels quite European. As you move away from that border, it gets a little bit more of what you would think in your mind Morocco would look like, which is why I love the south of Morocco, because that's where you get into the Sahara Desert. As we move on to Fez, Fez is the cultural heart of Morocco. So you'll be visiting Medinas and madrasas. You'll feel like you've traveled back in time to the Middle Ages in the labyrinth that is the Medina of Fez. So you'll always have the watchful eye of your local leader, helping you out, pointing you in the right direction, ensuring that you don't get lost, unless of course you want to get lost. visiting the leather tanneries, doing some shopping, trying some local delicacies, like the salty and sweet pastille, which there is an option to get your hands a little bit dirty and make a pastille, a pastry dish from scratch as well. In Morocco, of course, if you are a shopper and that's something that interests you, there's a lot of shopping to be done. Something that's really lovely about doing an Intrepid tour is your local leader will be able to point you in the right direction for the best of the best. And I don't mean the best of the best, like, you want the best carpet in all of Morocco, but going to a source that is legitimate, is taking care of their employees, is making sure that the money is going back into the hands of who it should be. An ethical workplace would be great. We'll visit co-ops where you can see where the carpets are actually made. And for example, when I was in Morocco, really wanted a metal teapot so you can have your Moroccan tea in, Moroccan mint tea. And it's just a metal teapot, but it's very characteristic of what you'll see your tea being served in all the time in Morocco. And we're looking for this item as a souvenir to bring home and couldn't find one. And there was a lot to choose from. So we asked our local leader and he said, when we get to Marrakesh on the last day, there's a shop. It's in the market. I'll tell you where to go when we get there. And we ended up finding, and it was fantastic. After we visit Fez, we'll head to Magoon Valley. This is a really fantastic area that's between the Atlas Mountains and the Anti-Atlas Mountains, where there's some fantastic trekking that can be done. This isn't a trekking trip. By no means do you need to be overly active. It's only a 2 on the physical scale rating, 2 out of 5. So as long as you're comfortable walking, can get in and out of the van, you should be fine on this trip here. But we do have an optional hike that can be done in this area as well. And it's just a spectacular area of Morocco. In this region as well, just to get an idea of some of the local accommodation that we'll be staying in, this would be considered a gîte. So a gîte is like a local homestay or a local home that's been converted into a hotel, very traditional. When we're staying in the Magoon Valley area, we'll be able to wander through apple plantations. So there's actually a lot of apple orchards that are in the area around where we're staying. Relaxing in the evening, you'll be one of the only travelers in this small village where we stay, and have a restful night in the Atlas Mountains before we head to the Sahara Desert tomorrow. So before we head to the Sahara Desert, we stop in Mirzuga. And in Mirzuga, this is right before you enter the Sahara. So it's kind of like the gateway to the Sahara Desert. There's a great opportunity when you're here, and you'll notice that everyone will get involved, where your local leader or the actual local guides that are going to be taking you out to the Sahara Desert will help you get acquainted with a traditional Moroccan or Berber headscarf. So you get to pick one out, purchase at the store. You can get any color you like, and then they'll show you how to wrap it around your head. I myself have a blue one, and if you'd like a tip, any ladies in here or men who like their photos to turn out great, you can get a blue one. It looks really great in pictures in the desert. But this area here in Mirzuga, you can imagine, which you'll see in a minute, or behind me on my virtual background, it's the orange colored Erg Shebi sand dunes is where we're going to be going. And Mirzuga is the Saharan village that it's really isolated. You're in the middle of nowhere. And it's like a modern world that has been left behind. It's just so magical. Think about Morocco it is a destination that is on the radar. A lot of people travel to it, but when you're traveling through Morocco, you don't feel like there are a lot of tourists there. You feel like you have the place to yourself, which is really lovely. Then we head out to the Erg Shebi Dunes. It's the area that is the most stunning in the country if you're looking at in regards to dunes. And Erg is technically a vast sea of shifting windswept sand that's formed into picturesque undulating crests and valleys. And it's one of the most iconic landscapes with dunes that tower up to 150 meters in height. When we visit the Sahara Desert, you'll have the opportunity to ride a camel, which for some is a fantastic experience. However, if you're not interested in riding a camel for concerns or comfort level, that's okay as well. You can opt out. We don't walk at a fast speed, so you can even walk alongside as well. Now, this is all aimed to get you to your Sahara Desert camp. And when you're in your Sahara Desert camp, it really is just to take it all in. When you get there, you'll be greeted at your Sahara Desert camp by the Berbers that will be working at your camp to help get you situated. You'll be greeted with some mint tea and a biscuit. And warning, their tea is very sweet. So if you're not into sweets or are worried about health issues, maybe opt out or ask for a no sugar in your tea. You'll spend the evening just in the middle of the sand dunes, taking it all in. You'll have dinner prepared for you under the stars. And then in the evening, you'll have a campfire, sing some songs, some music, bring out some drums. Everyone will get to play, tell stories around the fire, and you get to sleep under the stars. The desert camp varies depending on whether you're on a basics, original, comfort, or premium level trip. This is one that you would see on an original or even a comfort trip. I'll show you one that we'll stay on a premium trip as well later down the line. But it's for 1 night or 2 nights, depending on which trip you're on. Most of it's 1 night. This trip, it's 1 night. And when you arrive in the late afternoon, evening, you have your dinner together. You'll sleep under the stars. You can sleep in your little cabin bunkie here. There is a bathroom on site. There are showers. It's very comfortable. And I'll tell you, this was the highlight of my entire trip. So when you get here, you're truly in the middle of nowhere. It feels like you're in a movie. It's out of this world. And in the evening, it was still very warm. I was there in late October. So if you're wondering what time of year to go to Morocco, summers are very hot and dry, and the winters tend to get a little cool. So shoulder season is fantastic. Spring and fall in Canada is a great time to go. I was there in late September, early October, and it was still very warm. So in the evening, it was very hot in our cabin. So one of the girls in our group actually started it first. She pulled her bed out of the cabin and just said, I'm going to sleep outside. So we all did it. So we all pulled our beds outside of our cabin and slept under the stars. It was amazing. So dark, but all you could see was the stars above. In the morning, we woke up, and it was our plan, myself and my partner, to walk up to the highest sand dune to see the sunrise. So we got up in the morning, even though it was so cozy in bed and it was cooler at that point early in the morning. We got up and we hiked and we hiked and we hiked, and we got to the highest sand dune we could find and waited for the sunrise. And we looked around everywhere, 360 view, nothing in sight except for a couple camels and the Berbers that were leading them. It was incredibly once in a lifetime experience and just out of this world. To this day, I still don't believe it, that it happened. After we head out of the Sahara Desert, we'll visit the Tojer Gorge. It's a massive trench that rises over 250 meters to form one of the most dramatic, spectacular natural sites in Morocco. And these limestone stacks make a perfect area for trekking. So again, if you'd like to get your, stretch your legs, great opportunity to get out and do some walking. In the Magoon Valley, we're staying in another gate, so a traditional Berber house. So this is what it will look like. Very comfortable. The great thing is breakfast is always prepared for you the next day. Buffet style. What you can expect is some pancakes, some eggs, boiled eggs, toast, jam, butter, Berber tea or Moroccan tea, some coffee on request, some fresh juices, and some fresh fruit. It's always delicious. It's always fresh. When we're in the valley, you'll get to pass a lot of Berber villages in this area, so a lot of great local interaction. You can have the opportunity to share a cup of mint tea with some of them as well. So this is often a frequent interaction that happens in this area, or just take a stroll and do a little hike. On this trip here, because we're covering a lot of ground, it's not an overly active trip. So I find that a lot of people do like to get out, stretch their legs, go for a little walk, go for a little hike. And the scenery is just insane. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. After this, we're heading to Ait Ben Haddou. So we're on the road of 1,000 Kasbahs, which, as you can imagine, as you're driving along the road in Morocco, it's going to be a lot of desert, a lot of dunes, argon trees. if you see an argan tree, your driver might pull over because the goats will climb up into the argan trees to eat the argan seeds. So you'll have to get off and definitely see that. The first time I saw it, it was amazing. You'll have to Google it afterwards if you've never heard of this before. The goats in the argan trees. So it's goats climbing all over these trees. It's quite funny. It's like watching a cartoon. But once we're in this area, they're going to go behind the scenes of Game of Thrones and The Gladiator. So there are a lot of famous movies that have been filmed in this Casbah here. The fortified red city of Ait Ben Haddou was once an important stop on the caravan route between the Sahara and Marrakesh. Now it's a filmmaker's heaven. So you'll get to walk through the Casbah. There are some locals that live in the area. You can buy some souvenirs, but just in general, the architecture here, you can climb all the way to the top as well and have some fantastic views down below. And your accommodation that you stay at is in the area, and you can sit on the balcony while you're having dinner or a drink and have this view in the background. And lots of exploration to be done. So again, feeling like you're one of the only travelers in the world. On this trip, we end in Marrakesh, which is a great place to stop. In Marrakesh, it's a lively city with a lot to do, a lot to see. We'll take a guided tour through the Medina in Marrakesh, join the nightly carnival of fortune tellers, dancers, and medicine men in the main square. And in Marrakesh, there are lots of optional activities as well. So in Marrakesh, we have 2 days on this trip, but you can spend more time here as well. We offer optional activities like doing tagine cookery class. You can visit the main square and get lost in the nightlife, the food, street food, the shopping, or just taking people in the area. Of course, whenever it comes to food and street food, if you are cautious or concerned about food safety, the best thing to do is always ask your local leader. They'll always point out the best things to eat, and you're guaranteed not to get sick because the last thing they want is an unhappy traveler in their group. So if they say, this is good, you should try this, definitely give it a try. If they say, don't walk down that street or eat at any of those restaurants on that strip, definitely take it as a warning. Highly recommend. But my favorite thing about traveling, and I'll tell you, I wasn't a big foodie until I started working at Intrepid 5 years ago, is letting those choices go into the locals' hands. Who knows what's fresh, who knows what's in season, who knows what's safe to eat, and getting to experiment and try new things. If you're concerned about dietary requirements or allergies, that's something we take into consideration as well when picking your trip. And you can always let us know ahead of time. And then when you're in destination, let your local leader know as well. And some destinations will cater to allergies and dietary restrictions better than others. So it's always just a conversation we like to have before you travel as well. All right. So lots to see on this trip here. It's a great introduction to Morocco for sure. If you are a foodie and you've been salivating thinking about all the tagine and couscous and local dishes, you could try one of our Morocco real food adventures. So on a foodie trip, it is really focused on the food and exploring the destination through their cuisine. So all around the world, we offer real food adventures, and it could be tacos and street food tours and Italian pasta, wine, mezcal tequila, hot chocolate. In Morocco, tagine, couscous, goat cheese, olive oil tasting, and the list goes on. You're not missing out on the sights and sounds, but it is very food focused. So on this trip here, it's our Morocco Real Food Adventure. It's at the original level. You'll have 11 breakfasts included, 3 lunches, and 8 dinners. You will never go hungry, especially on an Intrepid Real Food Adventure. We have 7 nights in a hotel, 1 night in a guest house, 2 nights in a geek, and again, that 1 night, amazing stay in the dramatic red sand dunes in the Sahara Desert, camping under the North African stars. That's included as well. So on this trip here, there are, what you can expect is some varied culture, landscapes, of course, and cuisine that await. It's just so magical. But few places on the planet offer the marvelous diversity you'll find in Morocco. In this 12-day trip here, oh, actually, 12 days, great length for a trip. I would say if you're short on time, I would offer a 6-day South Morocco discovery or something in that realm, but this is a great length for an experience. But on this trip here, eat, taste, cook like a local, and get to the heart of Morocco. That is what it's all about. You're gonna clear your plate for flavor-filled Morocco, where Berber, Arabic, and European influences mix to create an adventurous culinary cocktail. Follow the smell of food through mesmerizing markets and master recipes taught by those who know them best. Grab street food from the souk and share traditional meals in local homes. Take a handful of bustling Medinas, mix with a dash of sea, and season with fresh local produce. All drizzled with warm Moroccan hospitality for an adventure that will linger long on the tongue and in the memory. So we have got our olive press visit, couscous demonstration and dinner, street food breakfast in Casablanca, home cooked dinner in Chefchaouen, goat cheese tasting. We've got our pastilla demonstration and tasting, Medfuna cooking demonstration in Mirzuga, so in the Sahara Desert area. An argan oil cooperative visit to see where they make the argan oil and actually get your chance to purchase some. And we've got a tasting trail in Marrakesh and a Moroccan salads cooking class. You will come home with some amazing skills and have some fantastic dinner parties after this trip for sure. Now, if you're looking to get active and you are a cyclist, we offer cycling trips too in Morocco. Cycling, every trip differs, physical rating and kilometers that you're going to be covering. Morocco, it is a little more challenging because of the climate. It's hot, dry, dusty, but we do offer e-bikes. All cycling trips, we provide the bike rental. We provide a support vehicle that follows the group. So if you're not feeling well that day, perhaps there's a hill, you've had too much tagine for lunch, you can sit in the support vehicle and drive behind the group. You're seeing all the sights and sounds, but on a bike. So here we're gonna explore medieval Medinas and cross mountain passes in this cycling adventure. Desert sands, snow-capped mountains, everything in between. Red Cliff Gorges, seaside paths, you're getting it all in on this trip. Hairpin turns and alpine passes, so definitely a great trip if you're an avid cyclist for sure. You're gonna explore them all on this 14-day trip. So 2 days longer. You'll notice that we cycle only the best parts. So where that ... icon is where we'll be cycling. So when we're not cycling, we'll be taking different forms of transportation. This is a place where the people welcome you with endless stories and the landscape offers endless diversity, which makes it great for cycling. You can see beaches on this trip, deserts, forests, mountains, orchards, from Marrakesh's city circle through up to Tangier, Chefchaouen, medieval Fez, the cool of the high Atlas Mountains and the heat of the Sahara Desert, and all the way to the ancient city of Ait Ben Hadjou. Cycling, really what you need to do a cycling trip with Intrepid is a passion to see the world on 2 wheels. And last but not least, we have our premium experience in Morocco. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we have those different styles depending on your budget, level of comfort you're looking for in accommodation and travel style. Premium is premium experiences, premium accommodation, premium service, and premium sustainability. So if you're looking for an adventurous experience, but would like an upgraded accommodation, this is great for you. It's our Premium Morocco Explorer. We have other premium trips in Morocco as well. Starting in Casablanca, ending in Marrakesh, we're staying in a comfortable hotel. So our hotels at the premium level are going to be about 4.5 star on average, some cheeky 5 stars in there, but we have 2 feature stays on this trip, which are incredible, remarkable experiences that bring in the local architecture and history into your accommodation as well. 11 breakfasts, 5 lunches, 6 dinners, so pretty inclusive. We also include on premium experiences arrival transport, so your arrival transfer at the beginning of the trip, tipping across the board for your accommodation, activities, transport. There's luggage transfer, so porterage is included on these trips, always daily breakfast, a welcome meal on the first night to whet your appetite, and 24/7 on-ground support. For all of our trips, we offer 24/7 on-ground support with our local team in Marrakesh as well. But on a premium experience in Morocco, you can take a look here. This is our premium desert camp that we stay at. So in the cabins here, or camps or tents, you'll have beds, you'll have bathrooms, you will have a seating area, a little area where you can have a private meal if you would like. And at night, it's absolutely beautiful. But we're visiting Casablanca. We have our welcome dinner included on the first night, visiting all the same sights and sounds. We're having a picnic lunch in Bubulis. We're visiting Fez and having a home-cooked pastilla dinner. We in the Sahara Desert, and a dinner with a Ganua music that's going to be happening in Mirzuga area. So the Sahara Desert, we're going to travel by camel and do a medfuna cooking class and cooking demonstration, which is a local Berber dish. So you get to be a little more hands-on there. And the list goes on and on. So lots of activities included on this trip, and a few activities you can't get on any of the other experiences with Intrepid. So there are a few differences that you can see even before going on the trip beyond what's listed in the activities. One of the key components is going to be the accommodation. At premium level, it is premium accommodation. So it really speaks to the destination. It is boutique, it is beautiful. We're trying to be locally run wherever possible and sustainably run wherever possible as well, but just truly beautiful. And it really speaks to the destination. So if you can imagine staying in one of these beautiful riads in Morocco on our premium experience, it takes the experience into bedroom, no pun intended there. Now, in Morocco, of course, beyond being completely carbon offset and supporting local leaders and local accommodations and local restaurants and all of that amazing stuff that goes into traveling with Intrepid, we are also giving back in different ways. So I'll just highlight one of the Intrepid Foundation projects that we support. It's called Education for All, and it provides a way for girls that are in the High Atlas Mountains. So High Atlas Mountains is an area where it's very remote, very secluded. There are not a lot of schools in the area, and if there are, they're very far from where many people live. So Education for All provides a way for girls from these very remote villages to have access to education. So what they have done is they have created boarding houses that is managed by a local house mother, where girls will have access to books, computers, meals, and study support while they're there. But also what's really beautiful about this is they also have transportation to bring them back home on the weekend so they can visit their families. This is a fantastic opportunity for girls in this area because many either would not go to school because of the lack of transportation or support. Also, up until very recently, it wasn't very common for girls to go to school either. Now, during the pandemic, at the beginning of the pandemic last year, of course, these girls could not go to the boarding houses to do their studies and to be together because they were in lockdown. So what the DMC, the Intrepid local office, did in Marrakesh, led by Zina, our general manager, they raised funds to purchase iPads or similar to iPads, like tablets, and the SIM cards that they needed to have internet access. And then they walked them to their rural homes in these high Atlas mountain villages and delivered them so that they could continue their studies during the pandemic. So it's fantastic to see the results that are coming forth from this foundation and project. You might actually get to see some of the girls when you are in the High Atlas Mountains because they live in some of the villages that we visit. In recap, if you're still here, at Intrepid Travel, we're all about real life experiences. We travel in small groups, which means great flexibility. And it's not just about the destination, it's about all the people that you meet along the way. And we take all the hard work out of travel, so you just focus on the destination and those really amazing moments. Every trip comes with a fantastic local leader with unbeatable value and their truly remarkable knowledge of the destination. And it's something you can feel good about because we're a responsible business and we love responsible travel because it makes for fantastic memories. To wrap it up before I let Daniel take over for our send-off, it is great to note that, of course, right now, peace of mind is key when booking your future travel. experience. So we do have our flexible booking policy in place. Danny and Debbie at AlmonTravel can go through that in detail with you. But rest assured, if you're booking, we have some of the most flexible booking conditions right now to make sure that when you're booking, you can feel confident that if the situation changes, you're not able to travel or don't feel comfortable traveling, there are options, whether that is keeping your deposit on file for future use, moving it to another departure date, or moving it to another destination. And of course, safe travels is key. We've received the World Travel and Tourism Council's stamp of safe travels. All of our destinations go under thorough processes to ensure that they are safe, not only safe, but also responsible to reopen. At this current time, we have some destinations that are open, and we hope that over the coming months, as Danny pointed out, vaccinations roll out further, we will have more destinations opening as the months go on, and we can travel again. But again, all this information is available through AlmonTravel. They can provide that all for you and help you find the travel experience of your dreams. I'll send it off now. Shukran, thank you. And over to Danny.
Well, thank you very much, Cass. That was just absolutely amazing. Your ability to describe, especially the meals, with words, just made my mouth water, and the pictures are just absolutely stunning. It just it actually tugged at me to want to plan a trip like this. I do have a question though. Cell phone computer access. Now you mentioned about the iPads for the children. Do you have regular access for those people who are need to be connected all the time in each of the places you visit?
That is a fantastic question. So when we are traveling on the road, I'll tell you that our vehicles do not have Wi-Fi. So if you're traveling, you need to be connected all the time. Check in with your local provider or see if you need to get a SIM card in destination. When you are in the major cities or towns, you should be able to get cell reception and be connected to internet. However, when we're visiting the very remote areas, for example, the Sahara Desert, it'll be pretty unlikely that you'll be able to get cell service or internet. In our accommodations, many of the accommodations in the main cities and towns will have Wi-Fi. When we're staying, again, in the Sahara Desert or in a very remote area or a homestay, that won't always be the case. The itinerary does a pretty good job of letting you know where you will and you won't. But if you really need to be connected, this might be a great opportunity to disconnect, at least for a night, at least in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, I think that's actually something that people should be very much aware of. I think we're too often connected to these bloody things that seem to run our lives now. So it'd be nice to actually take some time, put your cell phone away or put your computer away. I really appreciate the fact that you also focus on solo travel too. So one of the things that we're trying to develop here at AlmonTravel, the local experience, small groups, the contributing to the community, all wonderful things. I've been on large tours, with 40 people. The experience with that, I'm sure, is not nearly the same as we would experience on a small group tour of 12 people or thereabouts. So much more personal. So that's again something to look forward to. And I've been on lots of trips too, where I've had people that are younger and older than I, but on the trip, with the particular focus on travel, it doesn't really matter about age. The interest is what allows you to bond with the people that you're traveling with. So, that's a very good point that you bring up. Street food. Wow. I was in Vietnam and China, and I have to say that I was ultra cautious about getting food on the street. Very nice to know that you have a tour operator that can say, yes, that's probably as safe as it can be. I know that there were a number of situations that I was in where I actually in Vietnam fried scorpions and cockroaches. Trays of them, and that was really kind of interesting, but they stayed on the trays. Anyway, so yeah, very enlightening, and the different kinds of Morocco trips that you portrayed today has given me a very good idea of what to expect, and it definitely, the trip is something that has risen more to the top of my bucket list. Kaz, thank you very much for your presentation this evening. Really appreciate it, and I'm sure that viewers who will come by to look at this as a recording will enjoy it as well. I want to take just a moment now to talk very briefly. Next Tuesday at 6:30, we have a presentation on the Dominican Republic, the island of the Dominican Republic. Many people look at that as, Punta Cana, and you enjoy it for its sand and its sun and its incredible resorts. But the representative, Yadira Henriquez, is going to be talking about what you can enjoy beyond the resorts, and enjoy what the Dominican Republic has to offer. So please tune in there. So Kaz, thank you very much again. I really appreciate it. Your enthusiasm was just absolutely bubbly, and I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.